Okay, so this video, I guess this series of videos is going to be showing you guys, what the fuck is this white chat right now? I see platinum in your future. Dingus's mother. In fact, what the? Okay, anyways, yeah, I'm going to be showing you guys some of the drills that I do to practice Widowmaker and other hit scan DPS heroes in Overwatch. So the first thing I do is I jump into the practice range and I just start shooting bots. There is nothing rigorous or strict about this. This is just sort of warm up and kind of freestyle. Maybe take shots that you think you're not going to be likely to hit when you're doing this. Just to kind of, I don't know, test your limits. And I guess while I do this, I can talk about some other shit. So, I'm well aware that there are, like, countless videos on this topic of improving your aim in Overwatch. And the reason I'm making a video about it, or a video series about it, I guess, because it's a lot of shit, is because I feel like I have not a unique perspective, but a less common perspective. A lot of the people who make these kind of videos have been playing FPS games for years. They're really good, but I think if you're trying to teach something, it helps to remember what it's like to not know that thing that you're trying to teach, or at least not know it well. And I remember what it was like to not know Overwatch well, to basically suck at Overwatch, to suck dick at Overwatch. And when I first picked up this game, before I played it, I had almost no FPS experience. And when I first picked it up, I was bad. And it's through doing the drills that I'm going to show you guys that I was able to, well, get good, basically. I've managed to hit Masters on 2 different accounts, playing mostly hit scan DPS heroes. And I think this season I can hit Grandmaster if I stop dicking around in quick play with my friends. And yeah, that's why I'm doing this, because I know the drills work, basically. I sucked, I did the drills, I did them over time, and I got good over time. This game has only been out for a year. And, you know, a lot of people say the best way to get good at the game is to just play the game, but that's gonna take you a long time. Right, if you want to get good at the people who have just been playing FPS games for years and years, and they're good because they've been playing that long, then it's gonna take you that long to get that good. If you practice in a way that's more structured, you'll get better faster. Obviously, you still have to play the game, but we're just talking about pure mechanical skill here, not game sense or anything like that. So yeah, what am I not going to talk about in this video? I'm not going to be talking about your DPI, or what kind of grip style you're using on your mouse, whether you're using a palm grip or like a claw grip or whatever, or whether or not you're arm aiming or wrist aiming. All of that shit is personal preference. All of that shit you gotta experiment with yourself and find what you find comfortable, basically. You know, to start out, as long as your DPI isn't ridiculously high, and as long as you have enough mousepad space and desk space to work with, you should be fine. My DPI is 1600, which might seem a bit high actually, but my in-game sense is 2 to compensate for high DPI, relatively high DPI. And then my scope sensitivity on Widow is, where the fuck is that? Here, 35. So the first drill I'm going to show you guys, it's not actually here in the practice range, it's in a custom game, but I think there's some shit I want to talk about first. The first drill I'm going to show you is a tracking drill. And I guess let's talk about the difference between the two different kinds of mouse movements when you're aiming. There's flicks, which you basically seen me do this whole time. Because I missed a bunch of flicks to demonstrate. And a flick is just basically moving your crosshair from wherever it might be to wherever your target is in one movement as fast as you can. And the other style is tracking. And tracking is just what it sounds like. It's leaving your crosshair on your target. And that's the drill that we're going to be doing, but it's not going to be here in the practice range, like I said, because these bots are just too predictable and you're not going to get much out of tracking them. Like, look at this. This is not difficult. I'm not getting better at the game doing that. Widowmaker, for the most part, and McCree rely more on flicks, whereas Tracer, Soldier, Zarya rely on tracking. But I still think that tracking is the most important drill that you can do for any hero, for any hit scan hero. Even Widowmaker. And Widowmaker is a skill shot hero, so she relies on having good crosshair placement and good flicks and good enemy movement prediction. But I still think that tracking is more important. And I'll try to explain why. So if you're going to break down a shot into its sort of base components, a shot in an FPS game, and what is it? It's putting your crosshair on your target and clicking. Okay, clicking is easy. It's pushing down with your finger on your left mouse button. The only time that's even slightly difficult is if you're maybe playing Soldier and you gotta control your spread by burst firing. That's the only time clicking might be somewhat complicated. But otherwise, it's easy. There's nothing to it. You're clicking, right? The other component of taking a shot is what's difficult, the getting the crosshair on your target. And that's all tracking is. I'll show you as soon as we see the drill, you'll see all the drill is just trying to keep your crosshair on your target. So I guess let's just hop into the drill. So you want to go to the game browser, create game. I already have the preset set up for this, but basically all you need to do is make sure that the bots can't kill you, and you can't kill the bots, or at least not all of the bots. That way it's as much like the practice range as it can be, just with less predictable bots that actually have the player models of what you're really going to be shooting at in the game. So add 2 Lucios, one on your team, one on the enemy team. And then for the start, 2 Annas, both on the enemy team. And make sure you're at Temple of Anubis if you're on Widowmaker. There's a reason for that. On Widowmaker, you want to practice all your drills. Not all of them, but at some point all of them at long range. Fuck, man. And a really good spot for doing that, practicing shit at long range, is right here. So this is the drill. You're just trying to keep your crosshair on the enemy's head. I'm kind of bad at this now because I'm sort of multitasking, but this is the essence of it. You're just imagine there's a stat that the game is recording that says time spent with crosshair on enemy's head. That's the stat. Alright, you're trying to make that stat as big of a number as possible while you do this. Alright, this is, like I said, this is a very boring drill. You're gonna be tempted to shoot the bots? Don't. Don't shoot them. I keep shooting them as I say that, but don't. Okay, I had to shoot that Lucio because he was standing still on top of the fountain, but don't shoot the bots. Just track them. That's the drill. And it's very easy to get distracted, you know, you start thinking about the woman in the red dress. And as soon as you do that, you're gonna find that your tracking is not as good, right? You're not trying to like loosely track the target with this drill. You're trying to keep your crosshair on their head for as much time as possible. That's how you're gonna improve the most. And what I found with this drill is that it helps with consistency. There I go shooting again because I'm bored and multitasking. It helps with consistency, right? What a lot of people might find when they start getting better at aiming is that they're not consistent. They have days or matches when they're really good, and then they have like a day where they can't hit any shots, or a match where they can't hit any shots, or like a whole fucking week where you can't hit any shots and you feel like you suck. I had that problem, and as soon as I started, not as soon as, but after I started doing this tracking drill, I started to be more consistent. So, how long should you do it for? 5 minutes? What I used to do was I'd do 5 minutes on top of the gate, and then I'd change locations. Now I'm too lazy to actually set up a timer to do 5 minutes, so I'll set up a playlist to listen to music while I do my drills, and then every song I'll change drills, or I'll change the location of the drill. So for Widow, you want to change the location because shooting from up there on the gate where I just was is very different from shooting down here or even right here, like sort of a mid to close range. Right, up here you gotta make way more sweeping mouse movements. Whereas when you're on top of the gate, you basically like are only moving your wrists and your fingers to try to aim. So you gotta get used to all of this. So same thing, just try to keep crosshair on the target's head as long as possible.
This is gonna make you feel better.
And what you're doing here, if you actually notice the crosshair as I try to like maneuver it, you're actually doing a bunch of mini flicks. Like every time you try to correct and get the crosshair back on your target's head, you're kind of doing a mini flick. And mini flicks are the shots you want to be taking as Widowmaker. Like, there's the big flicks, like that. Not the last one, but the one before that. That look cool, and people see them and like, oh my god, you're an amazing Widowmaker. But those are not the kind of shots you ideally want to be taking, right? You take those kind of shots when you have to take them. The ideal shot is tracking close and then doing a mini flick.
Let's get you healed up.
I'm not demonstrating this well.
This is going to hurt.
But yeah, so practice this. There's other things you're going to want to practice as Widowmaker, and we'll do those in other videos. Like, you want to practice your flick shots as Widow, or other Widowmakers are just going to dunk on you every single time. But to get a strong base, and kind of a, you know,
Let's get patched up.
a consistent aim style to start with, practice tracking.
Oh, turn it up.
Do this shit, get good, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.